Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, October 4, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems, that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, let me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the US National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 7:19 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:19 p.m. Jamaica time, so it just came out an hour ago. We can see that we still have that area across the Gulf of Mexico, which now has a high chance, a 70% chance at that, of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. We still have major hurricane Kirk right there across the Atlantic, and to the southeast of Kirk we still have tropical storm Leslie well on its way to becoming a hurricane, and to the east of Leslie we have a new area that has a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So a code red right here and a code yellow. So we're gonna be starting with the code red. We're just gonna be going from left to right. According to the Hurricane Center, let's see what it's stating. A broad area of low pressure located over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico is producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Gradual development of this system is expected, and a tropical or subtropical depression or storm is likely to form late this weekend or early next week while the system moves eastward or northeastward across the Gulf of Mexico. Interests in the Florida Peninsula and the Florida Keys should monitor the progress of this system. Regardless of tropical or subtropical development, locally heavy rains could occur over portions of Mexico during the next day or two and over much of Florida late this weekend through the middle of next week. And we see that they've given it a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 70% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. So remember earlier this week it was downgraded back to a code yellow, then it became a code orange yesterday. Now it's back up to a code red, so it definitely has a high chance of development as it pushes towards Florida. And regardless of development, and we know that the next name after Leslie is gonna be Milton, regardless of development, it's definitely going to be bringing a lot of heavy rainfall, which could trigger flash flooding across Florida, the very same spots that were just affected by Helene. So the ground is already saturated, so it's definitely going to be easier for flooding to take place. If we take a look here at what's happening on the satellite images, so we mentioned that we're going from left to right. We're talking about the code red first, then we're talking about Kirk, then we're talking about Leslie, then we're talking about the code yellow. We can see, first of all, on the latest satellite images, we can definitely make out the clouds across the Gulf of Mexico associated with the system, definitely trying to get its act together to push northeastward into Florida. We can see the clouds associated with major hurricane Kirk. This is the definition of a hurricane. Look at that buzzsaw like kind of shape in general. Look at all the high cold cloud tops fanning out. Look at the circulation wrapping everything around in its center, and that eye as well as the CDO around it, definitely quite impressive. And we can see Leslie right there to the southeast of Kirk trying to get its act together, as well as the system coming off of Africa that has a low chance of development within the next 7 days. So let's see what the Hurricane Center is saying regarding that area right there speeding away. That's Hurricane Kirk. As of right now, it's packing maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. which still makes it a low-end category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson wind scale. As we can see here, we know that category 4 strength is anywhere from 130 to 156 miles per hour. Winds in general spinning around that center, and who knows, it could be even stronger than that for sure. Especially considering that the National Hurricane Center's aircrafts haven't been flying out to the system, especially considering that it's not going to be affecting any land, so they didn't feel the need to be sending planes out into that system. As a matter of fact, if you heard the news, when they were actually sending planes out into Helene over a week ago, they were definitely experiencing some difficulties out there. Helene was definitely battering these planes, so I would say it's better safe than sorry. We don't want a repeat of what happened with Helene. We don't want any loss of life out there at all because of these systems. So if they are gonna be staying away from these systems, it most definitely should be regarding these systems that are out to sea that are not gonna be affecting land at all. If we take a look at what's happening with Tropical Storm Leslie, as of right now, it's packing maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour. So it's a high-end tropical storm, still moving towards the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour. Definitely going to be missing the Caribbean in general. Definitely going to become a hurricane as it pushes towards the northwest. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds. If it actually continues northwestward, possibly affecting Bermuda, I will take that same track that Kirk is taking, moving northward as a major hurricane, then possibly downgrading back to a hurricane, as you can see by the H's on Sunday into Monday, where it passes just to the north of the Azores Island, possibly downgrading back to a tropical storm as it heads into Western Europe by around Wednesday. So if you have friends or relatives in Europe, England, wherever, ensure that you get them to pay attention, because these systems can definitely pack a punch when they get into that area. If we take a look at the latest regarding the brand new era, that's the code yellow right there closest to Africa. Let's see what the Hurricane Center is stating. They stated a tropical wave is expected to move off the west coast of Africa on Monday or Tuesday. Some development of this system is possible thereafter while it moves westward or west-northwestward across the eastern tropical Atlantic. Interest in the Cabo Verde Islands should monitor the progress of this system. And with that, they've given it a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Either way, we know the next names on the list: Milton, Nadine, next in line. So it's gonna be interesting to see what unfolds if we actually, finish the names on the list this year in general. Many of these news agencies or organizations out there basically predicted a way above normal hurricane season, which means that the list would have been exhausted. Let's see if we can actually get there before November is out. We don't want these things to happen, but the reality is they're happening. So we have to be alert, and hopefully nothing more affects land, especially across the Caribbean where we live. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we have Hurricane Kirk right there. We have Tropical Storm Leslie to the southeast of Kirk. And we can see the ridge of high pressure right there to the north of Leslie that we know is responsible for steering these entities right around in that fashion from northwest into the north and then to the northeast of that. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely make out the clouds associated with Hurricane Kirk right there, the clouds associated with Tropical Storm Leslie right there, and that's basically it. We can also make out the clouds associated with the system that has a high chance of development across the Gulf of Mexico. Definitely trying to get its act together. Definitely going to be bringing a lot of rainfall to Florida this weekend into early next week. Don't see much happening across the Caribbean right now. We don't even see that strong easterly flow. It's more so northeasterly than anything else. And if we focus our attention on what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, October 4, it was stated that parts of northern Jamaica would have received some morning rainfall, and then some of this rainfall would have affected sections of some southern parishes during Friday afternoon. And just for reference, we know northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes on top like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mirror, Portland. Wow, southern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes on the bottom side like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? As early as 6:26 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted here on our Twitter page at With the Jamaica. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page, but they're also made on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the visible satellite image was posted, and it definitely came in line with what I was seeing on the Cube and Doppler radar image at that time. Some light to moderate to slightly heavy rainfall, definitely affecting sections of Portland this morning, and we saw the clouds that brought all of this rainfall right here on the visible satellite image. Some of these clouds definitely spilling into portions of northern St. Andrew as well as portions of St. Thomas with some of that rainfall. And even as the morning progressed into 10:45 a.m., if you remember in yesterday's video, we highlighted that the models were predicting rainfall across portions of central and eastern Jamaica, but I was on the fence. I was more in line to believe that, considering the time of day and the fact that we didn't have daytime heating and the flow of the clouds from the northeast, I was assuming that it would have been more cloud cover than anything else. I told you guys to take the forecast with a grain of salt, and that was indeed what happened. We definitely got more overcast skies across eastern and central Jamaica than anything else. But we did indeed get in on some isolated showers, some isolated thunderstorms as well across section of Portland, section of St. Mary, and even section of St. Anne during that mid-morning hour as well. And then during the afternoon at around 5:35 p.m., we definitely saw that for the most part, northern Jamaica in the clear, most parishes in the clear, but we definitely saw that we had some isolated thunderstorms at, well, in between, let's say, Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Section of St. Elizabeth definitely got on that thunderstorm activity. We see the sparkling yellow dots that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes for sure, to show that we definitely had some thunderstorm activity across that spot. And we even had some rainfall coming into portions of eastern St. Thomas, even a burst of convection right there at the end of the frame. So we definitely had some late afternoon rainfall, more specifically across St. Thomas and St. Elizabeth this afternoon. And if you take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can definitely make out what took place. The clouds bringing some overcast skies and isolated showers in sections of Manchester and St. Elizabeth, as well as section of St. Thomas right there with that burst of convection before all was said and done with the day, before we lost the sunlight. And if we take a look at what took place regarding the infrared close-up satellite images, we can definitely see that we definitely had that burst of convection first across St. Elizabeth, high cold clouds pushing off to the southwest. Same thing across eastern St. Thomas right there. If we take a look at what was taking place on the Flatbridge cam at 2:14 p.m. today, not much of anything. We saw that St. Catherine didn't get in on much in the way of cloud cover or rainfall today at all, so it makes sense that the Bogwa Gorge was definitely sunny for the most part. People in their vehicles going about their business for sure. We know a lot of our viewers are afraid of the Flatbridge. We know the stories and we've heard the news. There's always something going on. Hopefully there's nothing more happening for the rest of the year or for the decade to come. If we take a look at the comments though regarding what took place today, we had Ricardo on our Twitter page stating yes, rain in St. Mary, loving it. So that indeed confirms the rainfall for northern Jamaica today for sure. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite image of Jamaica, so we're going to be looking at the latest still image, and this one just came out at 15 minutes past the hour, which is actually 7:15 p.m. So this one just came out 14 minutes ago, and we can definitely see that for the most part most of the clouds have cleared out. Not much of anything happening across the island as we speak, and the latest Cube and Doppler radar images confirm this. Look at this, not much of anything happening across the island right now. No blues, greens, yellows that represent some light to to even heavy rainfall at all. And this is as of the latest image that just came out at 8:20 p.m. So this one just came out 9 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago for sure. And we don't see much of anything. If we see some colors, that's just ground clutter. That's just a glitch in the system. This is why we need a real Jamaican Doppler radar to come back. Hopefully it gets here soon. If you take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuba Naval Radar Station, some rainfall across southeastern Cuba, some rainfall across the western peninsula of Haiti. That's just about it. Not much of anything drastic. Some isolated shores to the southwest of the Cayman Islands. Some rainfall in and around Cuba as usual. And if we take a look at the very latest live cam showing the city view, looking westward towards New Kingston, we see halfway through over here, the transport center. Not much of anything taking place. Definitely gonna be a fair night. Definitely clear. We can see all the lights on all the buildings. No rainfall prohibiting the view at all. And keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica's YouTube channel. Subscribe today. They show live streams of Halfway Tree, Crossroads, the Kingston Harbor, Barbican, and just as we showed earlier, the Flat Bridge as well. And they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have across the island. So subscribe today, just in case your area is shown soon. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can say we have 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. As a matter of fact, it should be lower than this, I'm sure. You know, these temperatures are not, well, these temperature maps aren't 100% accurate. But we can also see that by 4 a.m. on Saturday, this map from the GFS is forecasting that temperature should dip down to about 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. The Euro model is forecasting that for 4 a.m. temperature should dip down in Montego Bay to 26, in Kingston 25. We'll see how that goes. Either way, regarding the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18 on Saturday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Saturday. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight yellow colors for the most part. It's a mixture of grays and slight yellow colors. We know the grays represent average temperatures. The yellows represent slightly above normal temperatures, at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of October across Jamaica are about the same as 89 degrees Fahrenheit. And when calculated, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 36 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on a Saturday. And we know the drill when it comes to beating the heat. We have to stay hydrated, drink lots of water. If you're gonna be out tomorrow, at least stay indoors and make use of the fans and the AC unit. Dress down, and I cannot stress enough how good it is to be eating fresh fruits as much as possible. Can't go wrong with watermelons, apples, and grapes. If we take a look here at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we can see that North America, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, definitely still in the clear for the most part, as all the browns that we know represent the Saharan dust should be right there across portions of the main development region, as well as portions of the eastern sections of the North Atlantic. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can definitely see that Hurricane Kirk is doing a number on the waters of the North Atlantic. Look at all of the purples, the burgundies, the oranges, I guess that's orange and whites and purples within all of that. It represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to 9 plus meter wave height, reaching all the way from Kirk as far as the east coast of the United States. So we might definitely get some high wave heights, some swells, stretching as far as the east coast, as well as portion of the Bahamas, the northeastern Caribbean getting in on some of the action, while majority of the central to the western Caribbean getting in on those lighter shades of blues that we know represent anywhere from 0.5 for meter wave height all the way up to 1 meter wave height. And that's because the winds are not going to be that strong across the Caribbean. We see more blues than anything else. Some light shades of grays represent anywhere from 0 to 5 knot winds, maybe even gusting to 10 knots in some spots. And we can see the strongest winds in the green across the Gulf of Mexico, spinning around that area of low pressure that has the high chance of development. We see strong winds across the waters of the Atlantic associated with Kirk, the yellows, all the way up to the hurricane status in knot wind. So it explains the high wave heights. And regarding where the winds are going to be coming from tomorrow, this map showing Jamaica, we see the winds are still going to be coming in from the northeast for the most part, kind of from the east northeast on the central portion of the island right there. But we see that the air is going to be weakest on the southern side of the island, and that's where we might have all of the air piling up again. That's where we might have the heat for sure, considering that we don't have the winds on our side of the island. So definitely going to be hotter on the south coast, and it's also going to be, you know, triggering more diurnal convection on our side for sure on the south coast. So we know those cumulus clouds coming in from the northeast are going to become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. Some rainfall definitely in store for our side. And we know our side of the island, we're talking about those parishes on the south coast, such as Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. So look out for that. And with the upper-level winds tomorrow, seem to be coming more so from the north, kind of curving to the north or northeast across the island for 1 p.m. on Saturday. Definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes. Either way, whatever thunderstorms we get, definitely going to be pushing off towards the south and possibly bringing more of overcast skies, if not some rainfall to our side of the island. Definitely going to be an interesting day tomorrow. But take these rainfall forecast maps with a grain of salt, just like yesterday. For sure, we know northern Jamaica is gonna be getting in on their morning rainfall as usual. We see that this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 5 a.m. Jamaica time, and we see the blues that represent rainfall affecting portion of northern Jamaica, section of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne getting in on the action. GFS showing something similar. If we take a look ahead at about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 10 a.m. Jamaica time, we might just get something similar to today, with more of the rain out to sea, bringing more overcast skies to section of central and eastern Jamaica. We'll see how that goes. Maybe most of the rainfall is still right there across Portland and St. Mary, because the time of day, there's no way it could be real actual rainfall affecting western Jamaica and St. Thomas right there. We have to have that daytime heating to do that, unless it's some strong rainfall coming in that spills over into some of these parishes. We'll see how that goes. Either way, that's what the models are forecasting. And then look at this. This is 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 2 p.m. Jamaica time. This I'm more inclined to believe. And we see rainfall stretching from the east to the west, especially across southern Jamaica, where we see the darker blues or the darkest blues. Anywhere from St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland getting in on the action. And we see that there's a strong signal for it on the south coast for sure, on the GFS as well as on the Euro model for 2 p.m. So look out for that afternoon rainfall. If you're gonna get that laundry done, get it done from tonight into tomorrow. Look out for that afternoon rainfall if you're on the south coast. If you're on the north coast, look out for that morning rainfall. Or try your best to get that laundry done on Sunday if the weather permit. And we can see that both accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro right here and the GFS right here are in consensus that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. They're both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. We can see the rainfall represented by the greens, the yellows, the oranges, all the way up to 0.57 of an inch of rainfall being forecasted for areas around Kingston and St. Andrew on the Euro. GFS showing the heaviest or the most in the way of rainfall across portion of St. Thomas. Look at that. I haven't seen that in a long time for my area, so it's going to be interesting to see some actual afternoon rainfall from that northeasterly flow across St. Thomas. Some oranges there that represents all the way up to 0.59 of an inch of rainfall. Definitely an interesting day for weather tomorrow with that northeasterly flow and that daytime heating rainfall. If it's not cloud cover, it's rainfall. Hopefully it's actual rainfall to cool down our temperatures. And we're indeed grateful. We're in the month of October. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we shall receive 170 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay, we shall receive 8.5 inches of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that you can visit weatherandclimate.com right here to find out what your specific parish user sees throughout the year in terms of rainfall. And keep in mind that you can use this little graphic right here that converts the rainfall. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the math yourself. So 170 for Kingston in October would have been something similar to about, let's say, 7 inches of rainfall, or a bit less than 7 inches of rainfall. In Montego Bay, with this 8.5 inches of rainfall, it's about the same as, let's say, 212 millimeters of rainfall. So you can do the calculations yourself when you find out about your specific parish. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So right now we don't see much of anything affecting the Caribbean in general, just the clouds associated with the system that has a high chance of development across the Gulf of Mexico. Clouds associated with Hurricane Kirk as it pushes towards the north for sure. Definitely a major hurricane, quite a beauty to see from a meteorological perspective. We can see Tropical Storm Leslie right there. That's going to be following in the footsteps of Kirk. And for the most part, we usually see the usual afternoon thunderstorms across northern South America, section of Central America as well. We see some of the usual thunderstorms across section of Hispaniola as well as Puerto Rico. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we're going to be seeing what's happening right now. We're going to be looking at what happened earlier. So the usual hit or miss isolated showers are represented by the greens and the yellows and oranges within all of that. They represent some light to moderate rainfall. Some rainfall to the south and southwest of Puerto Rico, to the north of there as well. Some rainfall in and around the Leeward Islands, anywhere around Dominica, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, to the east of St. Martin and St. Kitts and Nevis. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images from earlier today, we can see that rainfall that took place across Puerto Rico today. With that northeasterly flow, it makes sense that southern Puerto Rico definitely getting in on their fair share of rainfall. And Jamaica is about to get in on this northeasterly flow, so look out for that rainfall on the south coast tomorrow. Definitely going to be getting in on some nice rainfall for sure. Definitely going to be interesting. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we do see that flow of that rainfall. It kind of looks like it's going more towards the east, if I'm not mistaken. We see that rainfall to the southeast of Barbados, some rainfall across the Grenadine Islands. Some of this could definitely push south into section of Grenada tonight. You can also see that rainfall right there to the east of Dominica, heading into Martinique as we speak. If we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, some rainfall right there across the Bahamas, across Florida, western Cuba, section of the Yucatan Peninsula getting in on some of the action. So too Belize, Guatemala, Honduras getting in on some of that rainfall, as well as section of Colombia, northwestern and northeastern Venezuela getting in on some of that rainfall too. And regarding where all the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, it makes sense that we're seeing some rainfall across section of the Yucatan, the waters of the Gulf, and into Florida, associated with that system that has a high chance of development. Keep in mind that both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Saturday. And we see all of the yellows and the oranges and the reds represent all the way up to 1 inch of rainfall for portions of Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, western Cuba, Florida, section of the Bahamas, southeastern Cuba as well. We see some isolated shores for portions of the Cayman Islands, section of Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, section of Puerto Rico getting in on some of that rainfall. So too, anywhere from Dominica southward, sections of Guadeloupe, Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago. We can also scroll down and see that portion of Northern South America are getting in on the action too. Areas like Suriname, sections of Guyana, Venezuela. If I already didn't say it, Trinidad and Tobago definitely going to be getting in some of that rainfall. Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, and even sections of Nicaragua over here. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.